Hello everyone, my name is Ronak and you're watching Vector Art. In today's video, we will create a user control and add it to our WPF applications. We'll understand how it works and what are the binding options it provides. So without any further ado, let's get started. So let's start first by understanding what is a user control. So user control provides a way to collect and combine different built-in controls together into a package and then make it reusable in XAML format. So here you can see we will be designing this similar kind of template or a user control that we will be using in our WPF application. So let's first start by creating a new project. Let's select WPF app with .NET Framework. If you do not find it, let's select here on the top and find it in the list of templates and click on Next. Let's give this project a name. I'm naming it as member user control and click on create. Once the UI is ready, let's go to the solution explorer and start with adding the user control. So let's go to add and add the user control. Let's give this user control a name. Let me name it as UC members and click on add. Now we have a blank canvas. So let's start by setting the height and width of the user control. I will change the height to say 30 or 50 maybe. Let's drag the anchor points. Yeah, this should be good. And the width will be 200. So let's first start by adding a rectangle on the screen. I have accidentally added a stack panel. Let me remove it first. And now let's select the rectangle, resize it to the size of the grid. Let me remove the stroke and change the radius of the rectangle. Now let's change the fill to a light shade of gray. That is done. Now next we will add a stack panel below the rectangle which will fill the entire grid. And inside the stack panel I will add a rectangle again. Let me do the same changes. I will remove the stroke and this time the radius will be completely till the rectangle becomes an ellipse. So once that is done, I will set the width and height and let me change the orientation to horizontal, and now I will set a margin of say 10. That is done. Now I will change the fill to an image. So now I have this image brush which I will use to bind to a property. So I will set the image source binding to a property called URL. I have not created this property yet, but I will later. So this is done. Next will be to change the stretch to uniform. And now let's move on to the next element. So after the rectangle, I will add one more stack panel. Before that, let me add this label and then move it within the stack panel. So let's say set the height to say 30 points, and now I will add a stack panel and house this label within the stack panel. Let me add some space between the rectangle and the stack panel. So let me set the margin, and now let me copy this label and paste it one more time. So the first label will be for the title and the second will be for the subtitle. So let me change the margin a bit and also change the text size. and the font foreground color to gray. That is done. Let me move it a bit low so that they don't overlap. So that is all that we need to do. Now let's change the content and bind it to a property called title. Again, I have not created this property yet, but I will after we do these XAML changes. So this should be subtitle, and now let's save this all and go to code behind and set the data context to this. And let's now create three properties. I am using this IntelliSense to create a string property of called title, and next would be the subtitle, which is of type string, and the last one would be URL. So once that is done, let me save this and close this code behind. And now let's go to our main window, and before that let me change the background color to black. And now let me add a rectangle here on the window. Consider this as a panel or a card in a dashboard scenario where you have several cards which display list items. So this is one of our card in our example here, and let me add a stack panel inside this rectangle. And inside the stack panel I will add a label first, which will let us know what this card is for. So let me set the margin and the font size and the font weight. Next I will set the content to team member, so this will show us the team member list. Next let me add a list box. Let me directly add it on the XAML window, sorry, a list view. And inside this list view I will add our user control that we created. So you should make sure you use the local namespace and then the user control name. I will copy this user control several times. In real-time scenario, you will do this programmatically, dynamically in the code behind. But now, right now, I am just adding it in the XAML. Let me change the width and height to same as the user controls width and height. And next is we will set the title property. Next the subtitle. And the next property would be the URL. I have downloaded some images from icons8.com and I have pasted here in the project. You can also create a folder called icons or images and place them inside that and then use it in your application. So let me run this first and see if everything looks fine. Yes, now let me do the same changes for all the other user controls that I've added. Before that, let me set some margins and let's change the size of our list view. So let's change the margin of each user control so that we have a padding of 5 from bottom padding of 5 and the left padding of 5. So let me copy the part all the properties of the first user control and paste it to the rest. So I have speed up the process here. so that we do not have to wait. Also, I will make changes to the subtitle, title and the URL properties of the user control. Let me copy the image names. That is done. Let's change the title text. That is done. So now let's save this, run this once again. Okay, we have a list view and we have our user controls inside this. Now let me add a button. Before that, let's decrease the size of our list view so that we can um, add a button below that. So let's add a button here. Let's decrease the size of our button. Let's change the size of our list view as well so that it aligns with the button. Now let's change some properties of this button. So let's first set the top margin to say 9 points. Change the color, change the foreground to white, change the text to add members, and change the font size to 16 points. And now let's go to the edit template, edit a copy, and I'm doing this so that I want the button to be a rounded button. So let's, in the border, let's add a property called corner radius of 5 points. So doing this, we get a rounded button which matches the theme. Next, I will set a margin of left margin for the team member label as well so that it aligns with the user control and the button. Last, I will remove the border and background brush for the list view, and also I will change the color of our rectangle that we have to a lighter shade of gray so that it does not pop that much. So all this is done. I'll move this list view a little bit up, and now let's see this UI in action. So hope you all liked watching this video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, like, share, and do subscribe to my channel. Till then, bye bye.